Back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course, and we're pleased to be joined by everyone's favorite cameraman, AJ Martel. Well, it's an inside joke. Of course, if you watched some of the news programs, you probably saw him with remember when the ESPN set happened? Yeah, that was the camera guy for that one. So there we go. So how are you, buddy?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Doing well. So you've been a busy kid this year, trying a new sport, coming off a pretty good football season. Overall, what has this year been like for you?
It's been, I think new is a good word. Started some tougher classes at the high school to set me up for college. Had a great season in football. Started a new sport. Changed some things just in my lifestyle that I've seen some positive feedback from. So it's just been a good new year.
Yeah. Well, what's it like just, doing some of those things that have kind of helped you to kind of be the person that you are?
It was tough at the start. I think I saw there's something out there that says it takes about 21-ish days to form a good habit, but one day to go back to your bad habits. So at the start of this year, I took it upon myself to wake up a little earlier, have a morning routine that I follow now. And with doing all these new things this year, it's helped keep my mind a little balanced going throughout the day.
Best moment from football season?
This year, the best moment was probably winning the regional championship again. Second time back to back. I've been on both teams that have won it, and to win it for the second time proved that we didn't fall off from the previous year.
Yeah. I know that, of course, you're a wrestler, but you tried diving this year. Kind of talk about how that kind of started.
I suffered an elbow injury against Trenton, the regional final game. And so I couldn't start wrestling on time because I was rehabbing it. But during football season, we'd mess around on the diving board a little bit, and the head coach was in there, and she saw some of us diving, and she said, "Hey, you guys could be pretty good." Joked around about joining the team, moved on. But once I realized that I was not able to wrestle right at the beginning of the season, she came up to my dad and I and said, "We know you can do 6 required dives. We have a competition that we need to score extra points in. Would you be interested in trying?" I said yes, because I just was really itching to get back to competing in something. So I went 20 minutes after school one day, practiced with one of the divers that I know, and then hopped on the bus to Hazlitt to my first swim and dive meet.
Did you feel like that, trying something new what was that like for you? It's always fun to try something new. Like it gets you excited. Were you nervous?
Yeah. I wasn't as nervous as I probably should have been. I don't think I had enough experience with diving to know what I should be nervous about. So I went in there with good attitude. I knew that I couldn't really do too poorly. So went out, did what I knew I could do, and did pretty well.
So overall, I mean, it's basically the year of trying new things and all that stuff. How do you feel like you're doing at diving so far?
I'm better than when I started. I still have a long way to go, but I think going into it with a little bit of background knowledge, just grew up with a friend that had a pool that we practice on all the time. So having a base going into it helped me a lot. I've already seen some progress, and it's a little challenging because it's something new to me, getting better exactly, but I think it's going well for having started only a couple weeks ago.
Let's kind of talk about, just I mean, you're a 3-sport athlete, and
4-sport now.
that's true. So what's it like to, juggle all that, the schedule is, because the thing is you're in probably your hardest year of high school, which is your junior year. Managing all the classes that you have, a lot of AP classes.
Yeah.
Find time to do everything. How do you balance everything?
It's not, I don't know. It's all I've known pretty much my whole life. Both my parents are teachers, so we've been really pushing academics hard my whole life. So adding a couple AP classes this year wasn't too stressful for me. I already had an idea. I took one my freshman year and one last year, so I knew what it would be like. But as far as sports, it's all I really know. I've been 3-sport my whole life. And going to school, going right to practice became just part of my normal routine. So that's hasn't really been too challenging, but adding in the second sport this winter, been interesting with some scheduling around practices and competitions, but just staying organized has helped me so far.
What's been the biggest, challenge for you this year? Just overall.
Honestly, it's probably been getting enough sleep at night. I know sleep's crucial for recovery and staying healthy, but sometimes I get started on homework a little late with the practice schedules and competitions. So I think just trying to find time to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep has been the biggest struggle this year.
Yeah. So going into this year, I know you've accomplished a lot of things this year, and I mean, you're just a junior, but overall, how do you feel about heading into, the next few weeks of this season? Plus you got a track season to prepare for.
I think I still have a lot ahead of me. It's halfway through the year now, but stage for wrestling's coming up. There's a long shot that I make it for diving, so we'll see how that goes. But missing out on track last year has really made this year's track season even more worth anticipating. So I'm really excited for the second half of my year to show that I still have what I have for track and that I can compete at a high level for wrestling and maybe even dive.
Do you get nervous before a game, a match, a meet, a dive?
I get nervous before everything I do. And I think that is a good thing. I think if you don't get nervous, then I don't know if you really want it or if you care enough. I wouldn't say I get nervous to the point where it distracts me from what's about to happen or alters my performance, but having the butterflies in the stomach, thinking about everything that can happen, I think that's a good thing. It shows that you're excited for what's about to happen, that you care for the outcome.
How do you mentally prepare and get ready? Like, what do you do?
Well, no matter what sport or activity I'm doing, plan everything out the night before. Bags are always packed, double check, triple check. I have my dad check things for me sometimes. But I am a big fan of visualizing things about what's to happen, think about practice stuff, alterations we made in the week, how I'm supposed to execute either a dive or a race or a handoff in track for a relay. And then just trying to breathe, stay calm is the biggest thing for I think everything I've done in my life.
How important is it to just, keep calm and just not get nervous before anything?
Like I said before, you're always going to get a little nervous, but staying calm is probably the most important thing. I mean, you can deal with the butterflies or the goosebumps I get sometimes, but understanding that with all sports, there will be great highs and extreme lows, and knowing that the best way to go through that is to stay right in between them. That way you can go with anything that happens and either work harder when you need it or stay at the right pace or tempo when you have that lead or that positive energy on your side is what it's all about.
Okay. What was your best moment from football? Like your best overall moment that you had playing Mason football this year, the past few years?
I think my sophomore year was a big one. I had a game-ending interception against Haslam in the district finals, which was big because it sent us to regionals for like second time in school history. And then winning that as a team was probably the biggest thing because we just put our stamp on Mason football history with winning that first ever regional championship.
Lastly, what is something that people might not know about AJ Martel?
I'm going to give two things, actually. One is that I'm actually a twin. I have a twin sister. And so a lot of things that happen in my life are, how do I want to word it? They're based around my sister. She's one of my best friends, if not my best friend, just because she lives across the hall from me. So there's that. Another thing is that I take academics more seriously than any athletics that I'm a part of. I was a top reader all through elementary school. I am the current class leader of 2024 at Mason High School. And I just enjoy that aspect of high school just as much as the athletics.
All right. Well, AJ, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck the rest of the year. We'll definitely have you on again sometime.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me.